As far as like working cross-functionally, that's a major part of the role. So at Walmart, we are an enormous company, right? We have tons of different departments, tons of little micro departments inside of them. So when you're looking to migrate these processes, you have to present a use case and a business case as to why you should get priority versus the other initiatives that department is going to have within Walmart. So really learning how to craft a story and craft a narrative as to why your initiative needs to be accomplished is extremely important. Otherwise, you're not going to make as much progress in your area as you'd like.
Interesting. So, Roland, I have a question regarding AI. I see through, I went through your profile, and you emphasizes a lot about generative AI and how it can impact the product management field. So, how do you think that the product management field is going to be shaped because of the recent advents of generative AI?
Yeah, so it's kind of that full stack dev in me that's kind of getting into this generative AI. I like to play around with like the different open source models and kind of do some of that stuff on my YouTube channel. I have a little controversial opinion, but I believe everyone's going to be using AI in their career or everyday work life in some aspect within the next few years. I just think it's so powerful and it helps productivity so much that everyone's going to have to be using it. I mean, just in my own everyday life, I use it for captions and subtitles on my YouTube videos, for summarizing podcasts or YouTube videos that I'm interested in watching or listening to. They can give me a quick summary, and then I can determine if I want to go spend that hour watching that video or spend that half hour listening to that podcast. For product management, if you haven't tried any of these custom GPTs that are out there, I would recommend definitely giving those a try. I mean, there's one I think that's called Chat PRD by Clairvaux. Check that one out. That really can help you fill in the gaps in maybe your PRD that you write. Another one I think is called Pace AI, and that can generate Gantt charts, diagrams, architecture diagrams, user journeys, mind maps, different visualization tools. And really what I use these for isn't to come up with like the initial idea, but it's to poke holes in what I've already come up with so that I can present a stronger case, whether that's to different departments or different stakeholders, so that I can make sure that my argument has no holes or flaws.
Right. So I have one more doubt associated with the same thing, that when you are developing solution for your stakeholders, right? There is a human aspect involved in product management process. Like when you develop the product, you need to be empathetic towards your stakeholders or your clients' requirements, right? So, do you think AI is something like it could contribute towards that, or maybe it could replace that human aspect associated with developing solutions for your clients?
I don't think AI is ever going to truly replace us, but I do think that a product manager that uses AI will replace a product manager that does not use AI.
Right.
Well said.
Okay. So, yeah, you were saying something, Anubhav?
Yeah, well said. I really like that.
Right, correct. So, like we understand that there is two aspects related to product development, right? Basically, a human-centered design, which is also coupled with a keen understanding of what are the technical possibilities. So, while developing the product, how do you ensure that you strike a balance between these two aspects?
Yeah, so I like to I have a little saying. I like to say, design for the best, and then let engineering handle the rest. So when I'm working with my designer and my lead engineer or tech lead, I want my designer to design for the best user experience possible, and then
Mm.
we'll let engineering handle how they will do that. And if engineering comes back and it's like, hey, we're not able to do X, Y, and Z, but we could do A, B, and C, then maybe we go back and we craft another design that meets like the requirements that I've gathered.
Right. Okay. So you transitioned from the role of application support analyst at JP Morgan Chase to product management, right? So, like, how did you experience and what were your experience or challenges that you faced while making a transition towards product management? And like, what are your like word of like advice to those people who are working across different domains and they're trying to get into this space, and how can they achieve it?
Yeah, so I think the first thing to do is kind of make a chart of like, you want to get into PM. What does a PM do? And then what do you do in your current role? And then highlight all the things that are similar to the PM role that you currently do. So, for example, as a application support analyst, I'm talking to customers every day. I'm working through bugs. I'm reporting them. I'm working with the engineering team. I'm documenting these requirements that the customers had. And you're working cross-functionally, right? So I'm working with engineering, I'm working with design, I'm working with customers. And then just craft a story about how all those things that you do in your current role are similar and can easily translate to the PM role.
Right.
So
Makes sense.
what are the 5 tools that you use in like that is you use every day, every single day that as a PM you use? You cannot be without that 5 tools. Just name this in sequence, maybe priority order.
You
Like
mean like software things or?
yeah,
Yeah, so like Jira and Confluence are, two of the major ones. Make sure that there's documentation for everything that we've planned and gone over. I'm a big fan of like recording videos, so using something like Loom or I think Screen Studio on my Mac, so that I can communicate with teams that are maybe in different time zones, or to record bugs or different things that are in the software. And then Chat GPT. I'm a big AI advocate, so I'm definitely using Chat GPT every day, whether that's to help analyze data or poke holes in my PRDs or other strategies.
so one post that you recently had on your LinkedIn was on AI chatbots. Could you tell the audience like what it was and I really like the post. So could you delve into it, like what significant differences you want to convey with that message?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys saw, but there was like recently in kind of the tech news, but there was a car dealership that implemented an AI chatbot for their um, website. And basically, people were going in and trying to hack this chatbot. So they would write different prompts, sort of malicious in nature, and they ended up getting this dealership chatbot to sell them a car for $1. So when you think about these AI chatbots, it's not just a simple hook yourself into some third party and then go. You really got to think about like, what does the user want? What are they going to be asking this chatbot? What are some negative things that could happen? Can we be absolved from this legally? And you really want to think through like, what are the limitations and when do we escalate to a human agent and move that conversation from just gathering information to actually speaking with a human to get the customer what they want.
That was really quite insightful. Like that was quite unheard of that the chatbots being hacked. So I really like the post. Quite insightful.
Thank
So
you.
what are the market trends you're seeing right now, and with the Walmart's in future, like futures focus, in your current role as Walmart, how do you stay informed with the market trends, and what do you see as the future focus areas for the Walmart in terms of product management and innovation?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways I kind of stay up on the trends. Um, First is within the organization. So I want to look at other teams, their release note, speak with their product managers, kind of build a network internally to see how they're solving similar problems that I might be having, or to see how they do things, to see if I want to take some of what they do and implement it in my team. The other thing is I subscribe to various newsletters and podcasts, whether that's about e-commerce, AI, or product management, kind of all encompassing those areas as well. Um, and then lastly, taking a look at like competitors, not just in your marketplace, but outside of it. So a lot of good products come from industries that aren't related to the one that they started in. For example, like the buy now, pay later things like Klarna and Affirm, those weren't created by like the credit companies. Those were created by people from outside of the area and then brought in. So a lot of good innovation can come from just taking something from an industry completely unrelated and then bringing it into your current industry.
Okay, that's quite insightful. So, like, you must be reading, you must be reading every single day about new products that's coming in, and probably, as you said, like from different domain or like genre that you got to copy from other products that you see the trends, right? That's nice. So, sort of, you have any questions?
Yeah. So like I also happen to come from an operations domain, and this thing I faced personally last year when I was applying for my internship in different prod management roles. So I faced a couple of difficulties while interviewing in those product management roles. So like I would like to understand like from you, since you also started off a career from an operations domain. So like what are is there any sort of recognized course or certification that maybe people who are aspiring to get into product management can do, which is also recognized by companies like Walmart and Amazon for that could help them get the role.
Yeah, definitely. I think the best way to kind of show off your product skills is to like do your own project. Is there something you can develop that just solves a simple problem, just like 0 to 1 MVP solves a very simple problem, and then how do you go about defining that problem? How do you go about determining the requirements? Did you speak to any customers that had this problem? There's a ton of apps out there that are no code or visual builders that you can use to kind of develop this project. And then after you develop it, you can go out and get feedback from other PMs. You can get feedback from other people in the industry, and then you can kind of understand like what goes into that whole process. I developed a Chrome extension that helped YouTube creators see their thumbnail within the YouTube search results.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 10 users just by posting in a Facebook group. So, that helps me. Now I got 10 people I could talk to that are content creators that have these issues, and I can understand more about their problems, and then I can look at the patterns and devise a way to solve those problems. I also think if you're looking at courses and certifications, you want to do it from someone who's been there before, who's been a PM at large corporations or industries that you want to be into. Some things to look into are like, I think Teresa Torres has a course called Continuous Product Discovery. Also, the 280 group is a good one that I've heard of. You really want to focus on courses that talk about bringing value and viability versus a process, so that you can learn how to think about product.
Right.
So as you said,
Okay,
like,
that was very.
yeah, you're saying
So
something.
that was very useful and insightful information. Yeah, no, you could go ahead.
So Roland, you told that you are like you like content creation. So do you have any channel or people could follow up?
Yeah, I have my own YouTube channel where I talk about tech, kind of coding and AI,
Okay,
and you can
what's the name?
follow me at youtube.com/at sign and then Roland underscore Burke.
Okay, cool. That's nice. So
Definitely.
definitely people would love to follow you because I think there's a lot to learn. So as you said, like we could build a portfolio of our own, probably MVP on our own, like as you said, Chrome extension that you build. So uh, what impact does this has in the interview while you go for an interview? Like people who don't have a portfolio versus people who have built their portfolio to show up. What impact does it really create in the interview? Can you please
Yeah, to me personally, I believe that it puts you in the top 1% automatically. If you're looking at different resumes and someone has projects or things that they've or content that they've created that I can go look at, whether I agree with their opinions or not, it's useful for me to see how they think. And even if you can't create like a project out of thin air, you can also review some features or other things that were released by other products, and then say what you would have done differently to solve that problem, or say what you think the problem is, because you don't have all of the data, but it's useful for that team to see like what you're thinking and what you think the problems are versus what the actual data is.
That's very nice. So, what I have seen, like people, what they do for this portfolio building is that either they do MVP, like you said, or they start with the community, or they do like as I said, like do a tear down of the product because it's like case competitions which are going on that really helps and showcasing your interest in the product. So these are, I think, quite insightful, and even some sort of YouTube channel that could really help that you have this interest and you have some followers to showcase the in the interview. That could really help. With that being said, Saurav, you have. Would you like to take any further questions?
Yeah, I have one last question. While your role at PepsiCo, it involved sales pricing intelligence platform tracking over 6,000 SKUs. So, for these kind of project where you have a very vast scope, even a single mistake could lead to, a very large scale impacting casualties and everything. So, how do you ensure that everything runs smoothly in a project like that?
So the first thing I like to do is kind of start from the end, work backwards. I know Amazon sort of does like the PRFAQ, uh, but I just kind of like to, okay, my goal is, at the end of 6 months, I have to have this in production and released. Working backwards, how does that happen? And so doing that, I'm able to break the project into smaller chunks. And by breaking into smaller chunks, I can release things and build a plan that is right in the chronological order where I can get the features needed to be released out. And then if there's any problems, I'm not affecting the rest of the project that's built on top of it, because we have to solve that particular issue first before we can move on.
Okay, makes sense.
So how do you go about pricing the product? Like as a PM, you have we generally have a benchmark to or the competitors that we could look into, but what are the other ways that you look into, and what are the strategies if you're going into a new market altogether? So how, what are the strategies you follow, and are there any tools or the to use when it comes to pricing?
Oh, can you repeat the question?
uh, as a PM, you have some benchmarks to follow of a pricing product, right? So how do you price the product, and are there any tools that you could use?
Are you talking about pricing?
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing I sort of think about when I look at pricing is more of what value am I providing to the customer? And then what is out in the marketplace that provides similar to that value? And is there any differentiation? Because the more I'm differentiated, the more price isn't a huge determining factor in their purchase decision. So you want to look at all the factors that go into their purchasing decision. So following that user journey from their problem awareness to solution awareness to, okay, I'm ready, like let's buy a solution that's going to help me solve this problem, and kind of use all of that data to determine, where should you price your product, and whether you're doing, large enterprise contracts or you're direct to consumer and doing a monthly recurring subscription. All of that information you have to take into account when you're determining pricing.
That's nice. So the question, the headline still remains: what is the difference between program and the product management?
Program and product, two completely different things. While there are some skills that kind of transfer between the two, really, program is more about tracking deadlines and tracking all of the projects to completion and making sure you're mitigating any risks that can come up and that you're managing timelines. So making sure that, if this team is required to do their piece before this other team can start, that this team's getting their work done. And if there's any delays or anything, you have to flag that at risk. You have to communicate with the stakeholders. You have to give those updates to leadership, and make sure that everyone's aware so that you can get a path to green, and readjust. Where product, you're more working with customers, you're understanding and gathering not what I would say requirements, but understanding what their problems are so that you can understand the patterns so that you can come up with a way to solve that pattern, in a unique way with your design team and your engineering team.
That's nice. So, Roland, my last question is: what is the one skill that you are looking forward to build in building, and what value it would bring in your work life?
Yeah, so for me, I'm looking to build my sales skills. You might think that's kind of odd as a product manager, but being able to communicate and influence is a huge part of the job, and you're always selling. So taking a sales course currently, and I'm looking forward to how that helps me communicate and speak with people from different stakeholders to customers to management, leadership, etc.
Cool. By the way, guys, if you guys have any questions, then do comment below. And moreover, you could follow Saurav and Roland for sure. Add a connection request. They would love to have you in your connections. And that's pretty much it. Saurav, you have any last closing statements?
Yeah, so Roland, it was a lovely interaction with you. I got to know a lot of useful insight from someone like you who have you know a great extent of experience in the product management space. So yeah, that is something that I really enjoyed having you on our show.
Hey, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
And I subscribed your YouTube channel.
Oh, awesome! Thank you. Thank you so
even
much.
I didn't know even I didn't know that you have you are a YouTuber, so I definitely follow up and a lot to learn.
Oh yeah, check it out, man. Let me know. Let me know if there's anything you want me to make a video about.
Sure, sure, sure.
Sure.
And do give us a heads up if you have any live show that's coming up. We'll love to connect with you live.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll let you know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think it's very good morning to US, and we had a lovely night here. So with that being said, let's close the session, and thank you guys for joining in. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Thank you guys.
and Roland, last request that at least say namaste to the audience.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Bye bye.